I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands.
One nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you to all of our global listeners. God bless this great country, United States of America. On to the goddamn show.
If you're trying to take your HVAC game to the next level, then buckle your seatbelt, crank up the volume, and try not to be offended, because you're listening to the HVAC Uncensored podcast with Gil Cavey and Kelley McKay. Now, here's Gil and Kelley.
Yo, what is up, everybody? Welcome back to episode 89 of the HVAC Uncensored podcast. I am your host, yours truly, Gil Cavey Jr., sitting alongside my buddy old pal, Mr. Kelley McKay. What's up, brother?
It's summer. It's hot.
Yeah, sweaty.
We're booming.
Humidity sucks for a bald guy, too, so just stating that.
Tonight, we got a really cool guest. His name's Steve Snyder. And you're probably, a lot of you guys out there are probably using a product that he actually invented. So we'll talk about that a little bit. So welcome to the show, Steve.
Hey, thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah, of course. It's funny that people use these different products and stuff out there and they don't realize, you know, how they come about. So obviously there's more to talk about than that. Obviously, Steve, we want to thank you for being here. But let people know about what they're using out there that's making their job easier, that you kind of made happen. You kind of brought this to the world.
Yeah, thanks. Basically, I needed a way to get a 200-pound unit up into the attic. And we were just talking, everything in Arizona has moved to attic installs, everything California and Dallas, pretty much everything, all the equipment of newer homes are in the attic. And with the newer, heavier equipment, I had an install crew that just could not, get that equipment into the attic. And I would end up showing up myself to every job and trying to help them lift it. And I thought I had to come up with a better way.
Yeah, there's always a better way. So if you guys don't know what we're talking about, Steve invented, what is the actual name of it? I don't even know. What is the actual?
It's called the Attic Pro, and Supco makes it.
Yeah, so if you guys see that thing in the store by Supco that's got the little black case with like the orange trim that you put up in the attic to hoist units up, that's what Steve invented. That's what we're talking about. And I know you guys have seen it. I mean, it's in all the supply houses around here. So, I mean, that really is a lifesaver. Have you ever seen one?
I'm going to have to get one. No, I've not seen one. And we don't have a ton of attic jobs here where I'm at. It just baffles when I first started talking to our buddy Texas. He's in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. It like blew my mind that everything's in the attic there, because it's not that we don't have some attic jobs, but it's not an everyday occurrence. That's for sure. Far from it.
Yeah, we have a lot here. So that thing's a lifesaver. We have, I would say maybe 60-40 with attics, because if it's a house that has one system, it might be in the basement, might be in the attic, but a lot of houses around here have two systems. So one in the attic, one in the basement. And it really is. When you, like he said, when you put that thing on and the way it locks in, against the beams, and then you can we've hooked it to a ladder before too. I don't know if that's the way it was meant to be, but we had to rig it up sometimes because the way the beams are. But yeah, you can get that thing and hoist it right up. Just slide it over, stick it on there, and you're up. Because, as an owner, as a manager, I mean, safety is a huge thing, and we want guys working safer. Like you said, back twain, hurting your back and stuff like that. I don't need one of my installers out for, 2 weeks because he messed up his back, especially in the, summer rush right now. So that's awesome. So I guess tell people, I mean, I know you told us off air. So how long did it take for the whole inception of this thing, like the prototypes and stuff like that?
So I actually it took me about a year just to get the prototypes down. I ended up building 4 of them. The first one, like I was saying, could literally lift a truck. I built it way too beefy. It probably weighed half what the unit didn't set up very fast, but it would haul some weight. And then it just kind of streamlined from there. And at the time, I got it down to where it's just kind of, it sets up in 30 seconds or so, and locks into pretty much any different truss size, and it's kept itself out of the way is the biggest thing. Is it only uses like 2 inches of attic space, so you don't want that thing basically in your way the whole install. So once I got kind of the design parameters and had it built, the final designs, little tweaks and testing, I was into it for well over a year before I could even think about showing it to people.
Were you using your earlier prototypes? Were the guys still using those in the attic, even though it was harder for them to set up and stuff?
Yes.
Yeah.
Actually.
So it solved your problem, basically. You didn't have to show up on every job to help them get the unit in the attic anymore.
Yeah. I ended up using that time to rebuild the thing 5 different times.
Yeah.
Well, let me ask you this then, and kind of a 2-part question. And I know some of this gets touchy, so please don't answer anything if you can't or whatever. How did the whole going to Supco happen? So are you done with it now? It's, you kind of sold it to them, and have they changed it from your original design? Like what we get, is that what you designed, or did they take your idea and try to stamp their, BS on it?
I actually, Supco has been like really good to work with. If anybody has an idea or something, that's like the first call that I would make. They were great. I ended up going to one of the Ashway shows, and I don't know if you guys have ever been to one of those. They're pretty amazing.
I haven't. I've been to HR. I haven't been there though.
I went there, and it's just huge. And I was just walking around with my tool. That doesn't sound good. I was just walking around with it, and I was just showing it to people. And the people that were at that convention, those are the owners of even large companies. I was talking to the, vice president and owner of pretty much every company I walked to. I talked with Jim, who's vice president at Supco, and he just was like, "Hey, go. I like this. Go put it in your truck and don't show anyone anymore." And I didn't really do that, but he was the first call that I made. After the show, and they ended up flying me out to New Jersey and. Putting me up in a hotel, which was cool, and taking me out to dinner and all kind of, it was really cool.
Wine and dine you.
Yeah. Wine and dine you.
Yeah. Yeah. And it was awesome. And then the year after, it took them a little bit to get it all, kind of straightened away with manufacturing and all that stuff. So the year after, we were debuting it at another of the big shows, and they had me come out and flew me out and had me in their booth with them, kind of doing the whole showing it to people, and it was a really cool experience.
That is awesome. And I've actually heard that from other people, that Supco is actually a really awesome company to deal with, because I might actually reach out to them like to work out something for the podcast. But I have heard with stuff like that they are pretty good. I don't know personally. I've talked to somebody else who invented something. It's something they actually just came out with too. The compressor cool or compressor. I don't know. It's some little thing, because I saw our one. Well, my buddy HVAC Vlogger had one from Supco. They sent him out to try out. And they were talking about the guy who invented that or whatever. I went through with them. So was that like your first time? So, I mean, is that kind of like a one and done? Do you plan on trying to maybe do something else, or you just kind of filled a need for you and just happened to benefit from it?
I mean, it was, and I had a couple other ideas, and you know what, I should be probably more involved with that than I am right now. But hopefully I'll come up with something else in the future.
Well, I mean, to be honest, man, even if you developed it and you sold it to them and you never do anything again, that's still awesome for you. Because how many times do HVAC guys be like, oh man, if I could do this, but they never take the time to do it. You did. You took the time.
Did you work out any? Yeah, absolutely. Did you take any time? Did you get some type of a royalty thing with them? I'm curious where where it's an ongoing type thing.
Yeah, I mean, every time it gets sold, I get a little bit of money.
Awesome.
I'm not going to be a millionaire anytime soon, but every time it gets sold, I get a few bucks. So, I mean, that's good for me.
Yeah. Well, all you installers, absolutely. Get your ass out there and buy it. It'll save your back, and we're that way we can hook Steve up with a few bones.
Yeah, it'd be cool.
That's like the guy that invented like the Gallo gun. Like we think of that now and we're like, that's fucking common sense. Like why wouldn't someone think of that? And this guy made buku bucks off of it, sold it to Diversitech. It's crazy.
Well, that's an awesome story, Steve. I hope you can, with your ideas that you currently have that you're not pursuing, like might be a good idea. Maybe that's the next product and the next product, So, hopefully you can get some time to, start working on that again. But what are you doing with yourself now? Are you still doing HVAC or?
I mean, I have a company. We still do some HVAC. I'm trying to. We do a lot of remodels because I'm a general contractor also. So I have my HVAC license and my general. And my wife is a designer, so she kind of designs. Pretty much all of our stuff, and then I kind of try and make it happen. It's just a small company called Ocotillo Contracting and Design in Phoenix. But I still do some of the some installs here and there, but I don't really market for that.
Yeah, that's cool. So how long were you just a straight up HVAC company, or were you ever just a straight up HVAC company?
So I was an HVAC installer since 97 to 2007, and I got hired on with the fire department, and then started doing stuff on the side basically, and then realized that my side work had gotten bigger, where I can't really handle it. And that's about the time I came up with the tool, and I ended up selling my company at the time, which was good because I was about to just kind of go mad with the fire department, the tool, and the business. So I ended up selling my business and concentrated a little bit more on the tool. Got that thing out there. Like I said, it took a couple of years before it ended up actually on the shelf. And then I ended up just kind of staying on as a qualifying party for the company that bought my company. And then when that ran out, I restarted Ocotillo. So yeah, it's been a crazy kind of wild ride.
Yeah.
You totally sorry, Gil. I was just going to say, you've totally reversed roles. Now your wife's the visionary and you're the implementer, where before you were the visionary and your guys were the implementer, the getting this stuff done. So
is your old HVAC company that you sold, are they still around?
Well, they didn't keep the name, but they are still around. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. And they're still doing air conditioning, and they're still doing pretty well, I guess. So that's good.
Yeah.
Always good to see people doing well.
Yeah. I mean, especially if it's like, kind of like a foundation that you sold and then somebody kind of took it and ran with it. So that means you had a somewhat good of a foundation for them to take it and go,
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if they would consider it a good foundation. But I thought so. We were doing okay at the time, but like I said, going on with the fire department full time, and then having a business part time, and then the tool on top of that, which ended up taking a bit more of my my time than I had thought. But it was really cool to do. I mean, it was definitely worth it. And the fire department actually helped me develop the tool. I was going through a technical rescue school, and we were doing like the manhole rescues, and we're doing rope rescues off of mountains. And I was like, I can use a lot of this to help out the air conditioning industry. So yeah, hopefully it works out well for people that try the tool.
Yeah, well, as somebody, like I said, as somebody who has used it before, we have 3 of them at my company. It definitely serves a purpose. So you definitely hit the nail on the head. Like I said, the only thing is, every once in a while you get some of these attic holes where like the trusses don't line up to where it's kind of hard to hook it onto, but we've used ladders where we've hooked it onto a ladder kind of, and it still works. We've locked it in. So we've always found ways to make the job easier. So, I think it's great. So like I said, any installer out there who's not using it, you definitely got to check it out, because it will, well, if you're putting stuff in attics, I guess if you're not putting stuff in attics, I guess maybe it really isn't for you, but there's a lot of attics, at least up on the East Coast. And like you said, a lot of things down South. So there's a lot of states that people need it. Let me ask you this. So as someone who has owned an HVAC company and now you owned a contracting company, what has been some of the biggest struggles business-wise as being a contractor and stuff like that, is there things that you had the first time with the HVAC company that you were better at the second time, or was it the same struggles you had to fight through?
I think that the bigger struggle for me was I would have, install crews that I had to kind of keep fed, right? And if in the summer everyone's slammed and busy, and I want to expand, and then in the winter I don't have, I feel like I'm responsible for keeping them working and stuff, which kind of weighed on me a lot. And that in Arizona especially is a huge thing, because our winter is nothing, and our summer is just slammed. So what my biggest thing is trying to keep that balance of can I keep this person employed if I hire them through the winter, and then in the summer, I need more people, but if I'm probably going to have to let them go because I don't have any work for them. And I just didn't like that. It stressed me out. So the contracting side is a little bit better on that, but you still run into that where you kind of feel responsible to keep everyone going.
Hey,
yeah,
we all feel that. Kelley can speak on it, man. It is. And like I said, I don't own it. I feel it. Kelley owns his company. I know he feels it because we've talked about it. That's one thing about this industry being weather based. There is too many things out of our control that we got to throw in the mix. And some guy's looking at me talking about he can't feed his family. And it's like, what do you do? You know?
It's definitely an emotional roller coaster. So I don't blame you one bit for being like, all right, I'm going to try something different. I think most guys that have done this for a long time are, you're ready to try something different. And you started in 97. I started in 96. So just 1 year before you did. But I've been here the whole time. I haven't left it yet. And believe me, I'm ready to try something different. Like it's just, and I've owned the business for 12 years and I haven't been through a winter that hasn't gotten, some are easier than others, but it continues to be an emotional roller coaster, pull your heartstrings, anxiety, worry, fear. There are certain ways to overcome that. And I've learned a couple here real recently that I think will serve us well, but it's not for everybody. That's for sure.
No. And too many guys think it's easy. Every tech gets a little side work. And, it was funny. I had and actually I meant to tell you this when I talked to you today, Kelley, but I know you had your call. I had a lunch the other day with, me and the owner of my company. They're kind of friends of his, but they're all trades. They all own a company in the trades. And we were having lunch and they were all talking. They said nowadays it's so hard because all these young guys, as soon as they learn just a little bit, they want to go start their own company. He's like, and you can't knock them for wanting to be an entrepreneur. He's like, but now it's like everybody can't own a company, There can't be all chiefs. There's got to be some Indians. You know what I mean?
Well, it's like when you think about it, it's like the old stick thing, like if you had a pencil, well, one person, is not very strong. But then when you add two and then you add three and you add four, and the team, as a team, you get stronger and stronger. But when they leave, like now they're weak. I mean, it's just the bottom line is when you're on your own, you're weak. And it does not take very long to like completely fill your schedule and get overwhelmed. And then you realize like all these other things that the business that you left already had set up that now you have to set up. One thing, like every day you're like, why didn't I think of that? God, we used to do this all the time. It's like that. It's like never ending for a long time in the beginning.
Well, because we always find out that guys start their own company because they think they're going to be rich. They're going to make money. Yeah. We've talked to guys who some of their employees make more than they do. Some of the bigger companies and the one people were like, we have a salesman that's going to make almost $400,000 this year. Granted,
biggest plumbing company in Dallas.
Yeah. So it's a big company, but it's like it's crazy. So I mean, for you to get an HV, I know you said the fire, the fireman stuff like that, but what was like your background that got you into like HVAC and contracting? Like, did you have a family member who did that kind of stuff, or what led you that way?
I actually just had a friend that was like, hey, I need some help. And you seem like you'd be good in this. And I said, all right, let's go to work. And like, I didn't even know what I was really doing, and started, running some ductwork and stuff for him. And then, in 2 years I was, running the job sites. I used to do apartment complexes. So I'd be running, 300 unit apartment complexes, and I was, 19, 20 years old, and, kind of that in churches, and then just kind of went from there.
So you did like all like new construction. You weren't necessarily like a service guy, like a service side of it, right?
when I got bored after a few years of doing that, because, you know, when you're doing apartment complexes, every unit's pretty much the same. I mean, I'm throwing in like the first company units and, you know, some cheap, you know, Goodman 1.5 ton, you know, it's all the same equipment. It's kind of the same layout. And when I got bored, I kind of asked the company, I was like, let me go do some service for a while. Let me, you know, just to try and learn something new and do something different. And they were cool. They let me start doing all this, the, you know, warranty service stuff at the apartment complexes. Kind of got my foot wet in that a little bit. And so, yeah, just kind of mostly motivated myself out of boredom.
If you had to go back, I mean, do you kind of take everything as a learning lesson, or if you had to go back and kind of do it all over, would you do it different? Would you not do AC and kind of go another route, or did it all work?
You know what? I mean, it got me to a good place in life. So there are things that I would definitely do different. You know, like instead of switching it up quite a bit, because, you know, you know, maybe, you know, try and be really good at one thing. I'm not really even positive. I haven't thought about it too much. Yeah, if I could go back with hindsight, you know, I don't know. That's kind of a crazy question.
I don't mean to go like too deep, like I'm your therapist or nothing. It's just somebody who's done a couple of things like that. I was just wondering if you, like, do you ever have, like, obviously it sounds like you don't have any regrets on selling the HVAC business. Like, you're way happier doing the contractor side versus just straight up AC side of it.
Yeah, I mean, I am. I think that, and it seems less stressful and there's more variety to it. You know, like it just gets to be where you're doing the same thing. I feel like, you know, attic installs. You know, I did a lot of retro change outs and stuff, and you know, even that, it was like, oh, it's different, but it's pretty much the same thing, and it's like every day is the same. And whereas contracting, I can kind of go, okay, you know, this is different. Every house is different and everything's a little different and a little more challenging for me, I guess, after a while. And I kind of need that, like, variety after years.
That makes sense. I mean, because what we do is repetition. I mean, that's without a doubt. So, you know, not every, you know, kitchen remodel or something like that, or, hey, I want to bump out my living room or something. A lot of times they're all different. So you're going in there and, you know, it's a new thing every time. Or if people want the same job, they're doing it in a different way. So, it's not like, oh, do you want a Carrier, a Trainer, a Goodman? I mean, it's different. Let me ask you this. We've talked to several people. I mean, is it a cool experience working with your wife hand in hand if she like designs it and stuff like that? Because we talked to some people, they couldn't work with their wife. And some people, you know, that kind of partnership, it makes their relationship stronger. You know what I mean? So that's why we asked that.
Yeah, considering she's going to be listening to this.
Don't worry, I'll edit some stuff out.
It's great. It's great.
It is good. You know, like to kind of have that connection, and kind of, I feel like, you know, especially we can get so busy that, you know, that might be the most thing that we talk about. So it's good to have that kind of bring us together a little bit. So I would say it's a good thing to work with her. Plus, she's way smarter than me. I mean, everyone knows that. She's sharp.
Yeah. What made her message me? Like, I got that email and normally I don't like always look through some of them, and I was like, or no, it wasn't an email. I think it was Facebook Messenger or something like that. Yeah, and I was like, oh shit, yeah. I was like, she's like, my husband invented that. I'm like, I have one of those. I was like, yeah, that's awesome. I was like, I love to talk to him. So tell her thank you. I'm glad you did that.
And yeah, I'll have to tell her thank you too. I think she, like I said, she is like smarter than me. So, you know, and if I can get get the word out a little bit more, that's great for me. Great for the tool, and hopefully great for installers that, don't know about it. I actually, most of the installers that I talk to have never even heard of it, which is kind of weird for me. Cause when I was, I would like look for every new tool, that came out. So most of the, installers that I've talked to have been like, the attic, what? They didn't even understand what it was. So, for me, it's like, hey, anything I can do to, get the name out there, and hopefully people look it up after your podcast.
Yeah.
I'm going to.
I appreciate it. But like I said, she's great at that.
Like I said, at least, I mean, it's a handful. It's a handful of attic.
Yeah, you froze up there for a second, Cal.
Yeah, that was weird.
Yeah, because you know what? I think supply houses don't do a good enough job of explaining what it is, because I used to see it, had no idea what it was. And a lot of times when you see them, they're in the case. So you don't know what it is. And when they're out, unless you ask, you really don't know. So I'll try to share like a picture of it or something in the group, telling guys so they understand what it is. That's why I like having, these demo days at supply houses when they have food and guys go in there and, hey, you look at this, and they kind of demo it, because that really shows you some of this different stuff like that, So.
Yeah,
I'll definitely look into it for sure.
With Supco, I actually got to participate in some of those demo days in Phoenix area. So that was kind of cool. I could, we had set up a little display and went out and just had a little, unit that people could lift up and down, and just had a kind of a small little display. But, trying to set up a display for permanent, or, I wish they would have thrown some pictures on the box of it actually being used. That might have helped.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't remember seeing the box. I mean, I think that the case and stuff is nice. And like I said, I can picture, the black case with the orange trim, and, it definitely, but we can definitely try to, like I said, try to get the word out and tell people, because I know all these installers that use it. I mean, if you're putting something in an attic, there's no way this can't help you. If you're a dumbass and you rather break your back and push it up there, then you don't deserve it. You know what I mean? Then just keep doing that. Yeah.
Well, there's still people that, I've been doing this for 20 years and I'm strong. I can do it. And yeah, there's a lot of people that can do that, but everyone's tweaked their back in that awkward lift into the attic, or everyone's, Carrier makes a unit that's over 220 pounds, that goes in the attic.
I'm a Carrier dealer. Trust me. You're preaching to the choir.
Yeah. In fact, I told one of their marketing people at the ASHRAE show one time, I was like, if you're going to sell a unit that's 220 something pounds, you should include this tool with it.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
You definitely should.
We'll buy one for sure. It'll go on our, on our install crews. I'll put one on install crews trucks just so we have one. So you get a couple cells here in Kansas. Yeah. If my supply house even carries them, because I've never seen one.
Yeah. Do you still have one? Even though you're not in the trade, do you have one just for like nostalgic purposes, you know?
I've got 3 of them. Yeah. And you actually asked earlier, and I kind of forgot. They didn't change it pretty much at all. Like the one that I welded, years ago, if you put the Supco stickers on it and paint it the orange, like it's the exact same thing.
That's also
like,
good.
Yeah, that's cool.
They didn't tweak it, like at all. They have their product guy, and they did some testing on it. They hung, I forget, 300 pounds on it, and just left it hanging in their product testing room. And they'd call me and they'd be like, "Oh yeah, it was still hanging there. We'd kick it every time we walked by." And yeah, I mean, he's like, if it works good, why change it? And yeah, they didn't make any kind of changes at all, which I thought was kind of cool.
So Supco's cool with you, like making this kind of video, like saying that it's yours. Like they don't care about, you saying that you invented it. Like they're cool with that.
Yeah. As far as I know.
Yeah. Well, no, I just wonder because there's certain companies out there, I won't say their name, but it kind of rhymes with, Who Halgon. But they're one of those brands that they take other people's ideas and then slap their name on it, and they don't give the other person credit. So that's why I say that. That's why I don't buy their products. So yeah, so that's awesome that, they're able to take it to the masses, but they can still let you be like, hey man, the fact that they brought you to things shows that they don't, they don't care.
Well, that and their product display video that they put on their website was me in an attic. It was the video that I sent them to show them exactly how it worked. And so it's still, me in an attic. They didn't even redo the product video that I did. So I'm pretty sure they're okay with me talking about it.
Right.
I figured, but
that's
you never
cool,
know.
Man. Yeah,
it is very cool. And like I said, I love seeing that because like I said earlier, there's so many times in this industry that guys think of something like, if I had this, oh man, we should make this, and they don't follow through. So seeing somebody who follows through with it and makes a product that can help, generations of HVAC techs, I think that's fucking awesome because, granted that you're not in the field every day, but I think that would be awesome if I went on a job or saw in one of these groups and you saw some guy, seeing your tool that you invented, pulling it up. Like that's got to be pretty goddamn satisfying,
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. I had sold one of my homes, and I had one of the Attic Pros actually in my house. And when I was selling it, they had an inspection. And the HVAC inspector that came out to look at it was like, "Oh, I love that tool." He's like, "That thing is great." And I'm like, "Oh yeah, I invented it." And he's like, "No way." And it was cool that, he just happened to see it hanging there and then, kind of come out and tell me about it, which I thought was really cool. But
that is neat.
That is cool. So, yeah, because that's something. It's not like it's gonna. How could you technology? How could you really make it better? What are you gonna? People are getting lazier. You might have to make another one with like a motor on it that people can just go, because this younger generation, I don't know if they can even do this.
It needs to be, Bluetooth where they can control it on their phone.
Yeah. Send it a text message. Take yourself into attic. Send.
I actually built one with a motor on it, and I built one that hooked to a drill. I put like a 40-to-1 winch on it. And so the one with the drill, I was sitting there and I could hear my drill dying. And I'm like, no one is going to want this. No one's going to want to listen to their drill getting smoked.
Right.
And then I built one with like a cheap like electronic winch, and it was just too much. Basically too much setup, like either you end up with another thing with a battery, or you have something you have to plug in, and then you're looking for, okay, you can bring a plug from the downstairs up into the attic, or you can find one in the attic. A lot of places will have it, but then you're running extension cord or whatever it is, and it's just more stuff in the way. So actually, yeah, I've explored the other options on that, and just couldn't get them to work right. It was just more of a pain than it was worth.
No, I mean, that makes sense. Like you said, it doesn't take up a whole bunch of space, and that's true. I mean, you want to be able to put it up, get the unit up. You want to make one of the hardest parts of the job the easiest part of the job. And I agree. If you got to go start, now I get, even though, I mean, most guys have a cord up there, but I agree. You're adding steps to it that you don't need. I mean, because right now, once you get that thing up there, somebody's downstairs and you get that thing hooked up, it's literally just clink, 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 clink. I mean, it's not like you got to be Hercules to do it. So, I might try to make my own video on that, because I don't think besides your videos, obviously, I don't think I've seen any YouTuber or nothing like that make a video on that. So I might hang it off the back of my ladder rack and like tell my son to hang on it. Be like, hey, clip this to your shirt, asshole. Yeah, that's cool, man. Well, definitely congratulations on that, man. Being able to meet somebody that made a product that we use in our industry, I think's, pretty fucking cool, to talk to somebody. I mean, I've met like people like with these big companies and stuff like that, but that's different, and a lot of times you're not talking to the inventor. You're just talking to the person who is getting the financial gain from somebody else's stuff. So to actually meet you, the person who built the original one and all that kind of stuff, that's definitely cool shit.
Before we started the show, we were talking about, because I was curious about patents. So why don't you just tell them what you did there? Because there may be somebody out there right now who's a great idea and they're just not sure what to do with it. And so, everything that you've done, obviously it worked out for you. So what would you suggest if one of our listeners has a great idea for a new tool? What would you tell them to do first?
There's like a limited provisional patent that I did first, and it doesn't need an approval. But it's not, it's not the one where you need a lawyer and it needs to go back and forth to the patent office. It's just kind of I have this idea, and this is like my marker, that you can do. And it's like, I don't know, $100 and something or whatever. And it's not that hard to do. So what I did is I got that provisional patent, and it gave me some protection. Like, this is the day that I came up with it. And when I went to people, I said, I have a provisional patent. And if they were interested, then they can go through all the, the $10,000 patent process or whatever. And so if you have a tool that's going to take off, hopefully the company that would be able to kind of take it from you from that point. I think it gives you a year to kind of market it with people. And like I said, I think it's a really great way to just kind of like, kind of say, hey, I came up with this idea. I've got this. And now I can go kind of show people. But that's what I would recommend first, because there's a lot of people that come up with ideas that, kind of aren't going to go anywhere. And you don't want to spend $10,000, $12,000, $15,000 on something that, might not make it, might not make any return for you. So if you figure if it's going to happen, hopefully it'll happen in that year that they give you, and kind of give you that option to. And the thing that I did, I hired someone to send out a letter to like 50 different companies and, show what my, basically his job was to show what my tool did. And I didn't get any responses at all, like nothing. So when I actually went to that ASHRAE show, like there were people in those booths that are high up in the company that really kind of know what they're doing, and they're kind of the decision makers. So and that's the one thing I would say, if you've got a product, get that provisional patent, go down to the large show, because those companies are putting a lot of money into those shows. And so they have their, kind of their bigwigs in there, and that's a great way to market it instead of this, those inventor core or whatever the TV commercial.
Yeah. With the little gear and the old guy, you got an invention. It's always playing it like in commercial at like 3:00 in the morning. Are you stoned and you think you have an idea? Call us. Give us $250.
Well, I mean, those people can end up. First of all, everything that you've ever thought of is a great idea, because they don't care if it makes money or not. They want the other side. They want the marketing to company dollars. So everything you bring to those companies is going to be like, this thing is gold, and they're going to kind of tell you that, at least. But yeah, if you go, that was by far the best thing I did is go to the large show and just kind of talk with the people that were manning those booths. And I had several companies that were really interested, where I had sent them letters and trying to say, hey, this is a cool idea, and didn't have any responses. I think all those letters just went in the garbage somewhere.
Well, did you choose Supco? Like, could have went with another company and you chose to go with Supco, or was that kind of like the best deal, or how'd that work out?
I had a couple other companies that were interested, and I wanted to work with Supco. They had the largest distribution network of the companies that I had talking to, by far. And to me, I was like, that makes more of a difference than anything else. I mean, if they can get to thousands of supply houses, that's going to end up hopefully getting it out there. This has the best chance of getting it out there. So I went with them because those guys were just really cool. And, so I mean, basically just I did have other options, but they were the best, I think, by far.
Yeah. No. Awesome. It's a company that already has a name built for themselves. I mean, Supco has been in the industry forever. They're more well known with some things than others, but I mean, Supco's definitely been around for a while. They already have a name they're established. So, but
yeah, and they're in parts houses everywhere.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You guys run a kennel. Are those all your dogs? I was gonna say, because all those barks sound different. Is that a different dog every time?
No, I think that's the neighbors. I only have one dog.
Oh, because I've heard a bunch of different barks, and I was like, damn, how many dogs you guys got?
The neighborhood dogs like to talk to each other, though.
Oh,
right.
So you gotta yell like, I'm trying to record a fucking podcast over here. No, it's all good. But damn, Steve, this is we can only go like an hour. If we go too long, then guys start wrecking trucks and shit. Like I always say, they start their attention span's gone. But yeah, this was awesome, man. We really appreciate you coming on. we will definitely promote this product. Like I said, I've used it. Kelley said he's going to get one. It definitely serves a purpose in our industry. So thank you for that. Thank you for coming on and talking about it. Yeah, this has been awesome. You got any new inventions? Call me and let me know. I'll help you. Yeah, but yeah, it was definitely cool. So, and happy, good luck to you in your future endeavors as far as, with the contracting and stuff like that. It's definitely pretty awesome. And thank your wife again for, reaching out. I'm definitely glad to be able to talk to you and just to see how this process works. It was pretty neat.
Oh, thank you. And thanks for having me on. And I appreciate you guys kind of talking me up and talking it up. So yeah, I appreciate that. Thank you.
Nah, you're welcome, man. But I'll let you say what you got to say, Kelley.
Well, if you guys haven't checked it out, be sure to go to your local supply house and ask for an Attic Pro. We'll buy a couple of them for our vehicles to make sure that when we do have the occasional attic jacks, and hopefully stay safe while we're lifting those heavy units and also getting, the old stuff out of there. So just want to thank Steve Snyder coming on. Pleasure to meet him, and hope you guys enjoyed this. Thank you guys so much for listening. Be sure to subscribe to the channel. Be sure to leave us a review. I'm looking for new reviews all the time. So go to your favorite podcast app, leave us a review, and thank you guys for listening. We greatly appreciate it. Love you guys. I know everyone's getting tired at this point, but you got a couple of more months of just go time. We all understand how this business works. We got to go get it while it's there. So love you guys. Stay safe and go make money.
Yeah, guys, same here, man. This was awesome. It was such a joy talking to Steve because like I've said 3 times during this podcast how many times that we're all out there and we're like, oh man, if we had this, if we could do that, man, if I thought of this, and we never follow through with it. So Steve's story should show you, if you have an idea, fucking stick with it. It could turn into the next Attic Pro, the next Gallo gun. If it doesn't, hey, okay. He said what? He spent $100 and, a company liked it. And I mean, he actually put in the work and the money that cost him to build it and the time and the hours and stuff like that. But sometimes it's worth it. I mean, anything worth it in life is going to take a little bit of our time. But to see that pan out and work and to have used it, that's awesome. And to know where it came from, how it came about and stuff like that is just really, really, really cool. So, if you are an installer, if you own a company and you're out there, you do any attic installs, go to your local supply house and ask for the Supco attic. Let me unmute Steve.
Attic Pro.
Attic Pro.
Attic
yeah.
Pro.
Attic Pro. Yeah. So the Attic Pro, and get one. Trust me, it'll make your life easier. And as owners, managers, we want our guys to be safe. We want them to be able to get the job done and not be fucked up afterwards. All right. So enough of that. Go get one. No excuses. Yeah, guys, I love you guys. We appreciate you. The same as every week, man. Keep downloading. Keep listening. Give us reviews. All the major podcast apps. You know where to find us by now. We love you guys, man. We appreciate the fuck out of you. This podcast would not have grown into what it has grown into without you guys, man. So we thank you so much. Guys, as always, man, be safe out there. Always make it home the same way you left. Guys, set yourself apart. Do the little things. Do what the next guy's not doing. And if they're doing it, guess what? Do it fucking better than they do it. All right? It's that simple. All right? Guys, I love you, man. Stay safe. I'll talk to you mofos next week. All right? Peace.
Thanks for listening to the HVAC Uncensored podcast. Don't forget to check us out on Facebook and Instagram, or email us anytime at hvacuncensored@gmail.com. Now, get back to work. Shut this down. The views and opinions shared on the HVAC Uncensored podcast may not necessarily be the views and opinions of our sponsors or guests.
And we're good.